The Grand Council Hall floated above the black void of space, its walls gleaming with alien metal that seemed alive, pulsating with faint lights and humming with energy, and inside the hall, representatives of the galaxy's most powerful species sat on tall thrones carved from rare minerals, their eyes cold, sharp, and unyielding, as they spoke of humans with laughter and mockery, calling them weak, fragile, emotional, unfit for war. One of the insectoid leaders clicked his mandibles in amusement, saying that humans could not even fight without hesitation, that their hearts made them unreliable and their tears would drown their armies before the first strike, while the serpentine emissary hissed that a species driven by feelings would collapse the moment true pain touched them, and the winged lords of the high skies nodded in agreement, their feathers ruffling as they scoffed at the idea of allowing humans into galactic conflicts, believing strength and logic alone decided victory. Each alien voice layered with superiority and disdain, but in the shadows of the chamber, chained to a platform and surrounded by guards, a single human soldier sat silent, his body bruised, his uniform torn, and his eyes burning with a fire that none of the council could understand. The humans had been brought as prisoners, displayed as proof of weakness, their pleas ignored, their protests crushed. Yet this one did not beg, did not shout, did not make excuses, he only sat, head slightly bowed, hands resting calmly on the platform's edge, and yet his gaze swept over the council, steady, sharp, unwavering, scanning the faces of those who mocked him as if measuring every thought, every reaction, every weakness. The room was thick with tension, alien representatives chuckling at first, glancing at each other, expecting tears or submission, but as moments passed, the silence of the human soldier grew heavier, strange, almost unbearable, because it was not the silence of fear, but the silence of patience, of calculation, of fire waiting to be released. One of the younger Valorians whispered to his neighbor, saying that humans are fragile, that nothing could hide behind silence, that he must be scared. Yet when the human finally raised his head slightly, his eyes locking with the serpentine emissary, there was an intensity there that made the alien recoil. It was not anger, not hatred, but something harder to describe, a quiet power that did not demand recognition but forced it. Another alien sneered, telling the guards to tighten the chains, to make him flinch, to show weakness, and the guards did, straining the bonds, making the human shift slightly. Yet his gaze did not falter, he did not flinch, did not speak. The emissaries leaned forward, confused, wondering how one so small, so weak in body, could hold such presence. Even as the chamber rumbled faintly from distant ships and energy readings, the human's mind raced, remembering the training back on Earth's outer colonies, lessons from survival, teamwork, and endurance, things no alien could imagine, and he silently counted the seconds, noting patterns in the council members, seeing how they moved their heads, how they gestured, how they reacted to one another. All these small details feeding the fire inside, the fire that had been built from generations of humans learning to survive in harsh worlds. And while the council debated the next move for the human species, laughing at how predictable they thought humans were, the soldiers' presence alone began to unsettle them, the laughter slowly fading as whispers spread, some asking why this one human did not beg, why he did not cry, why he did not collapse like the others, and even the strongest leaders began to feel an unfamiliar unease. The human silence was too precise, too deliberate, too alive. It was a presence that weighed on the mind. And then, finally, the human moved, not violently, not quickly, but with calm, measured steps as far as the chains allowed, tilting his head, and the fire in his eyes flared brighter for a moment, not in anger but in warning. A promise, and a silence followed, stretching long and tense, filling the hall with a new energy. The alien council shuffled uncomfortably, exchanging glances, some whispering their unease to their neighbors, asking if they had misjudged humans, if this one soldier was different, if perhaps the weakness they assumed was only what they wanted to see. And in that instant, the soldier's breathing slowed, his body relaxed, yet his mind was sharp as a blade, reading the room, mapping every strategy, anticipating every move, and though he said nothing, every alien present felt it, a pulse, a warning, a statement. Do not underestimate what seems small, what seems fragile, because hidden within that human heart is fire, and fire, once awakened, cannot be stopped. And as the council prepared to discuss the final judgment of humanity, the soldier's gaze never left them, silent but alive, weak in body, perhaps, but in his mind, in his spirit, in his heart. He was already plotting the price they would pay for underestimating him, for underestimating the humans, and that fire, quiet, patient, deadly, burned in the shadows of the hall, waiting for the moment to erupt, leaving the council unaware that the very species they mocked as unfit for war would soon teach them the true meaning of strength. The human soldier, still chained in the cold metal platform, watched as the alien council continued to mock and debate his species, their words sharp, cruel, and full of certainty that humans were nothing but weak, emotional creatures. Yet something in the soldier's heart stirred, a quiet fire that had grown over years of survival and struggle on planets that tested humanity in ways the galaxy could not imagine. And while the council laughed, believing that fear and intimidation would crush him, he began to notice small things, the cracks in their logic, the hesitation in their voices, the way some of the younger officers shifted nervously, eyes flicking to him as if sensing he was more than he appeared, and though he spoke no words, his gaze began to speak volumes, telling stories of resilience, endurance, and unity that no alien had ever experienced firsthand. In the dark corners of the holding area, other humans waited quietly, their bodies battered, their spirits strained, but their eyes, like his, burned with the same hidden fire, and the council ignored them, thinking their silence meant weakness, not knowing that silence was the calm before a storm, that every heartbeat of those humans was a drum calling for action, calling for survival, calling for justice against those who thought them insignificant. One of the alien commanders moved closer, sneering at the soldier, attempting to break him with threats, waving energy whips, shouting that humans would be destroyed if they did not obey immediately. But the human did not flinch, did not cry, did not beg, his shoulders straight, his eyes unwavering, and that small act, that quiet strength, began to unsettle the council, for they had expected tears, screams, a display of hopelessness, anything that proved weakness. Yet here was a human unmoved, unbroken, unyielding, and it began to create whispers among the younger aliens, questions forming in minds that had never doubted authority, asking why this one human seemed different, what power was hidden behind that calm exterior, and even some of the more seasoned officers felt unease ripple through them, a strange sensation that humans might not be what they seemed, that perhaps their hearts carried something dangerous, something unpredictable. While the council debated punishment, the human soldier quietly signaled to the other captives, small gestures, subtle movements, a language born of necessity and survival, and though the aliens did not understand, the humans understood perfectly, forming a silent plan, a spark of rebellion, a promise that they would not be crushed quietly, that they would rise together despite the odds. And as night fell across the floating council hall, the alien lights dimming slightly, the soldier's gaze swept over the room once more, noting weaknesses in the guards, cracks in the chains, gaps in the surveillance, and then he whispered softly, though no alien could hear him, "When they see our hearts, they will learn what we are worth." The words were not loud, but to the humans nearby, they were a call to courage, a signal that the first steps toward revolt had begun. The tension in the air grew as the council prepared to leave the hall, confident that the humans would obey, confident that nothing could go wrong. Yet with each step they took, the humans' plans solidified in silence, their hearts beating in unison, creating a rhythm stronger than any machine. And the soldier began to feel something extraordinary, the unity of his species, the shared fire of generations, the strength of hope and determination that no alien weapon could touch. As the council's discussion moved toward plans of war, deciding how to use humans as pawns, the soldier quietly counted the moments, imagining each step the council would take, each order given, each assumption made, and he began to see the cracks in their arrogance, the tiny errors that could be exploited, all while maintaining the calm, quiet exterior expected of him. And then a younger alien officer approached, curious about the human silence, asking the soldier a question, expecting fear, and the human tilted his head, letting the fire in his eyes answer instead, a look so intense that the alien stepped back, startled. The whispers spread quickly now, as more of the council noticed that the human had not only survived their intimidation but seemed to grow stronger because of it, and that realization sent small tremors of fear through the assembly, for they understood instinctively that no one who faced fear with such calm could be weak, that a species capable of enduring such treatment and remaining unbroken carried a hidden strength that logic alone could not measure. Meanwhile in the lower cells, other humans began mimicking the subtle signals, forming bonds, silently organizing, sharing hope without words, and the council remained oblivious, convinced of their control. As the human soldier's plan grew in his mind, a quiet strategy born from understanding alien behavior, reading their patterns, calculating the right moment to act, and all the while the fire in his heart burned brighter, a fire that no chains could contain, a fire that would soon ignite a rebellion, a fire that would show the galaxy that human hearts were not to be underestimated, that even in silence, they carried power, courage, and a force that could topple empires. And as the first sparks of their revolt silently aligned beneath the council's nose, the captured soldier lifted his head one final time, his gaze meeting the entire hall, and though he did not speak a word, the fire in his eyes spoke clearly enough. The humans were ready, their hearts had awakened, and the empire that thought them weak was about to learn the price of underestimating humanity. The following day, the human captives were taken to the central arena of the alien empire, a massive floating platform over the planet's surface, designed to humiliate, break, and show the galaxy how fragile humans truly were, and the council gathered to watch with smug confidence, certain that these humans would fail, falter, or beg. Yet the silent soldier, the one who had already unsettled the council with his gaze, moved quietly among his companions, signaling with subtle gestures and whispered commands, teaching them how to watch each other, cover each other, and move as one unit. And when the first wave of alien combat drones descended, spinning with glowing energy blades and emitting shrill alarms, the humans did not scatter, scream, or collapse as expected. Instead they ducked, dodged, and countered with improvised weapons, small but precise strikes that destroyed or disabled the drones one by one. And the aliens murmured among themselves, puzzled and uneasy, noticing that humans were working together with coordination no one had predicted. They were observing, learning, and protecting one another instinctively. The silent soldier guided them, moving from group to group, eyes burning with quiet fire, teaching courage without words. As the drones pressed harder, unleashing energy waves and traps, the humans remained steady, some taking hits to protect others, shielding weaker captives. And in one shocking moment, a young human fell under a drone attack, and another dove forward, taking the strike instead, sparks and fire erupting around him. Yet both survived, and the other captives realized the power of loyalty, unity, and self-sacrifice, witnessing a human give life to save another, while the council's faces twisted from amusement to disbelief, for they had thought humans would break. Now they could not explain what they were seeing, and the silent soldier moved among them, calm but commanding, showing them how to exploit the drone's predictable movements, reading the alien attacks, finding weaknesses, and the humans responded instinctively, a bond forming that no alien weapon could touch. As the arena intensified, a new test arrived. A massive energy barrier ignited, a wall of fire meant to trap and burn the humans, the aliens leaning forward, anticipating screams and panic. Yet the humans moved as one under the soldier's guidance, calculating paths, helping each other, using the chaos to their advantage. And when they emerged on the other side, scorched but alive, the council was silent, no laughter, no mockery, only confusion and unease. The silent soldier stood at the center of the arena, dust and ash on his uniform, cuts on his arms, sweat dripping down his face, yet his eyes burned brighter than any alien energy, and with a single raised fist, he signaled triumph, and all humans mirrored it silently, a chorus of courage and unity. And then a drone carrier arrived from orbit, elite alien enforcers descending in sleek ships with devastating weapons meant to annihilate any resistance. But the humans, guided by the soldier, used traps, misdirection, and teamwork, each move precise and fearless, countering attacks, striking with courage and strategy. And even the council began to whisper among themselves, some in fear, some in disbelief, that humans were not just surviving, they were leading themselves, forming tactics beyond their captors' expectations. And every time an alien soldier fell or retreated, the humans grew stronger, their hearts and spirits unbroken, their confidence rising. And the council began to feel the first tremors of doubt, the realization that perhaps their assumption that humans were weak, emotional, and incapable of war was wrong, that the fire in human hearts, once underestimated, could become the most powerful weapon in the galaxy. As the battle in the arena raged on, one soldier whispered a vow to another, promising protection, courage, and victory together. The words simple, but the meaning immense, and the silent soldier watched, allowing the bond among humans to grow stronger, guiding them silently, every glance, every subtle gesture building a force no alien logic could predict. And finally, when the last wave of drones was destroyed or scattered, the humans stood victorious, bruised, burned, and battered, but alive, united, their fire blazing. And the silent soldier raised his voice, just once, strong and clear, speaking words the council would never forget. Remember this. Humanity does not break. After the humans' stunning performance in the arena, news of their courage and unity spread quickly across the alien empire, first whispered among lower officers, then reaching the highest thrones of the council. The leaders who had once mocked humans now found themselves uneasy, some pacing in private chambers, some exchanging worried glances, for the story was everywhere. A small group of humans, chained and beaten, had not only survived the alien tests but had thrived under pressure. Displaying strategy, loyalty, and fearlessness that no one could explain, the silent soldier, now regarded with quiet awe among his companions, walked through the human cells, checking each captive, giving them subtle signals, encouragement, and small instructions that prepared them for what would come next. And though he said very little, every wordless gesture carried meaning, a spark that lit fire in the hearts of all humans, teaching them that their unity was their strength. The aliens began to notice changes too, subtle but undeniable. Guards hesitated, young soldiers questioned orders, some whispered among themselves about the humans' bravery, and even some alien slaves from other species started to watch, wonder, and feel hope, for the humans' courage was contagious, spreading like wildfire through the empire's veins, and the council panicked as reports of the humans' acts reached them. Prisoners defying authority, protecting each other, and even turning minor skirmishes into victories. The alien leaders convened in emergency sessions, debating how to crush this threat. Yet the more they planned, the more the humans adapted, reading patterns, exploiting timing, and using emotion, loyalty, and intuition in ways no logic or weapon could anticipate. The silent soldier walked among his people, observing, teaching, and coordinating without speaking a word, and each action built suspense, tension, and fear in the hearts of aliens who had always assumed superiority. Then came the first open challenge. An elite alien patrol attempted to isolate a group of humans, intending to teach a lesson about obedience and weakness, yet the humans, guided by the silent soldier's signals, quickly formed a defensive circle, moving as one, protecting the weakest, countering attacks with precision and courage that shocked the attackers, and one human risked himself to save another, drawing fire away, forcing the aliens to retreat. And in that single moment, whispers spread. Among the alien ranks, humans were not just survivors, they were dangerous, unpredictable, and united. The council grew increasingly tense, sending observers to study the humans, attempting to find any weakness, any fear to exploit, but the soldier anticipated their moves, positioning his people strategically, using the terrain, machinery, and environment to create advantages. Every step, every maneuver planned in silence, while the aliens' own communication became frantic, officers arguing, questioning, doubting, and fear slowly replacing arrogance. The human's courage had become a weapon more powerful than any energy blade or fleet. As the silent soldier moved to a central observation point, he watched the alien council's reactions, noting every twitch, hesitation, and miscalculation, his heart steady, his mind sharp, and then he raised a hand, signaling a coordinated movement across the holding areas. And one by one, humans shifted positions, creating a network of protection, warning, and attack, invisible to the aliens, yet perfectly synchronized. And when the council's enforcers attempted to intervene, they were met with resistance that seemed impossible. Humans acting with courage, intelligence, and loyalty, striking not only physically but emotionally, showing fearlessness that unnerved the observers. Even as some young alien officers began questioning whether their own species had underestimated humans entirely, reports of these events spread through alien colonies, creating a ripple of tension. The Empire's lower ranks grew nervous, doubting orders, while whispers of rebellion began circulating. Inspired by the humans' bravery, the silent soldier moved among his companions, nodding subtly, ensuring that they remained focused, their hearts aligned, their spirits unbroken. As even more challenges were sent to break them, each one failed, the humans growing stronger. And the council, desperate now, decided to demonstrate their power with a massive display. A fleet of warships and enforcers converging on the human holding stations, intending to crush morale once and for all. Yet the humans, guided by the soldier, anticipated each move, set traps, and protected each other, their courage turning every attack into an opportunity, their hearts and unity becoming a force that no alien machine or weapon could suppress. And as the council watched helplessly from above, the silent soldier finally spoke again, a low, calm voice carrying through the comms, a single phrase repeated by humans across the stations: "Our hearts will not break. You will learn what we are." And in that moment, a chill passed through the alien leaders, the first real fear they had ever felt for humans, for they understood instinctively that courage, loyalty, and unbreakable spirit could never be destroyed by weapons, logic, or fear. And as the humans prepared for the coming challenge, the Empire began to tremble, for the fire in human hearts, once ignored and underestimated, had grown into a storm the Council could not contain, and the suspense lingered. In every corner, the galaxy watching quietly, waiting to see if humans could truly defy a mighty empire, and whether the underestimated species would finally prove that hearts, loyalty, and courage were the greatest weapons of all. The humans' courage and unity had now spread beyond the arena and holding cells, reaching the outer colonies and even some lower-ranking alien worlds, whispers of their defiance growing louder each day. The Council grew frantic, convening emergency sessions in the central spire, pacing, arguing, and trembling at news that humans were no longer obedient, that they inspired hope in slaves from other species, that they had survived impossible tests, and even worse, that they were starting to fight. Back in subtle but effective ways, the silent soldier moved among his people, observing, guiding, and teaching without words, his presence alone a signal of courage and strategy, and while the aliens assumed they could suppress him, he had already anticipated their moves, positioning humans in ways that maximized their strengths and minimized exposure. The first open revolt began when an alien transport carrying humans was ambushed by enforcers seeking to punish the captives, yet the humans, led by the silent soldier's signals, resisted with unexpected skill, using traps, timing, and cooperation to overcome their captors. A few humans were injured, some barely surviving attacks, but their resolve never faltered, and as they fought together, defending one another, the alien enforcers were shocked, confused, and eventually forced to retreat. The soldiers' pride shattered by the realization that humans were not weak, that they could endure, adapt, and fight with courage. The rebellion grew as word spread. Other humans in nearby colonies began resisting quietly at first, sabotaging equipment, warning others, protecting each other, small acts that grew into coordinated movements. The Alien Council tried desperately to respond, sending fleets and armies, expecting fear to break humans, yet each attack only strengthened the bond among humans, their unity, loyalty, and determination, a living weapon that no blaster, no ship, no authority could destroy. The silent soldier orchestrated these moves with precision, understanding alien psychology, reading their strategies, exploiting hesitation, all while keeping his people focused, brave, and coordinated. And as more attacks came, the humans used their emotional intelligence in ways the aliens could not predict, acting in ways machines and algorithms could not anticipate, showing courage that inspired hope in other enslaved species, some of whom joined the humans, swelling their numbers and creating chaos in the ranks of the alien empire. The Council was now desperate, sending elite strike teams and the deadliest weapons to crush the humans, yet the humans anticipated each strike, countering with traps, ingenuity, and courage, sacrificing when necessary to protect each other, turning each setback into a lesson, each attack into an opportunity, and every success strengthened their confidence, their bonds, and the fire within their hearts. The silent soldier, standing amid the chaos, watched carefully, noticing weaknesses in the alien strategy, subtle flaws in coordination and morale, and he began using them to further empower his people, his leadership quiet but absolute. And then came the first major confrontation. An entire alien fleet descended on a human colony to teach fear and obedience, the Council confident of easy victory, but the humans, guided by the soldiers' foresight, had prepared traps, ambush points, and coordinated defenses, using terrain, technology, and their own bravery in ways that turned the battle in their favor. The aliens were stunned, fleets destroyed, soldiers captured or fleeing, and the humans, bruised, scarred, but triumphant, stood united, their spirits soaring, and whispers of their courage reached the farthest edges of the empire, creating panic in the council chambers, the leaders realizing too late that their underestimation of human hearts had been catastrophic, that strength and logic alone were not enough against beings capable of love, loyalty, and unbreakable spirit. The silent soldier now walked through the human ranks, nodding to each member, seeing the fire in their eyes, knowing that their hearts had become weapons far more powerful than any fleet or machine, and he allowed himself a small smile, knowing that the first seeds of the empire's collapse had been sown. As more enslaved species witnessed humans standing up, resisting, and surviving, they too began to question, rebel, and take small actions, spreading fear and chaos through the alien ranks. And in the council chambers, panic turned to desperation, orders were given, rescinded, and then revised. Yet nothing worked. The humans had become unpredictable, unstoppable, and united. Every victory a lesson, every act of courage a weapon, and as the silent soldier raised his fist once more, the humans echoed silently, a chorus of hearts burning bright. A single message sent to the Council and the galaxy alike. Humans were no longer weak, no longer afraid, and the empire that had once mocked them was beginning to crumble, their pride shattered by the realization that the smallest hearts, when united and filled with courage, could topple empires, destroy fleets, and inspire entire galaxies to rise. And the suspense was unbearable for the Council, who now faced the terrifying truth. They had underestimated human hearts, and the price of their arrogance would be their fall. The Empire was trembling, the alien council frantic, as news of the humans' victories spread across the galaxy. Fleets destroyed, colonies liberated, slaves inspired, and the arrogance of centuries shattered in a single generation. The silent soldier walked among his people, bruised, bloodied, yet unbroken, observing the human ranks now swelling with freed allies from other species, hearts burning with courage and unity, their fire unstoppable, while the alien leaders sent wave after wave of attacks, desperately attempting to crush the rebellion. Yet every attack failed, the humans anticipating, adapting, countering, and turning every move into an advantage, their spirit unyielding, the soldiers moving with precision, protecting each other, sacrificing without hesitation, every action a lesson in loyalty, courage, and love. And as the silent soldier coordinated their strategies through subtle signals and shared intuition, the aliens began to lose not just battles but confidence. Morale collapsing faster than any fleet or weapon could, whispers of fear rippling through every layer of the empire, the once confident commanders now uncertain, debating among themselves, accusing each other of failure, their pride destroyed by the very humans they had mocked. And as the final confrontation loomed, the humans prepared for the greatest challenge yet, the Alien Council's war flagship. A massive vessel designed to annihilate entire worlds, descended on the liberated colonies. Expecting obedience and surrender, yet the humans, led by the silent soldier, had devised a plan so daring it seemed impossible. They used the environment, ancient machinery scavenged from previous conquests, and their unity to create traps and ambushes, striking from unexpected angles, confusing the enemy, and despite being outnumbered and outgunned, the humans fought with courage that machines could not predict. And every strike, every maneuver, every act of bravery inspired the oppressed species across the galaxy to rise, joining the humans, swelling their ranks, turning the battle into a full-scale rebellion. And in the midst of chaos, the silent soldier moved with purpose, coordinating without words, eyes burning with determination, guiding his people through fire and destruction. The alien flagship took heavy losses, systems failing, commanders retreating, while the humans pressed forward, unstoppable. Each act of courage, a hammer striking the pride of the empire. And as the flagship faltered, the council panicked, issuing desperate commands, sending elite squads to suppress the uprising. Yet the humans, fearless and united, met each challenge with strategy, loyalty, and courage, striking at the heart of the empire. The once mighty council now powerless, watching helplessly as their authority crumbled, their fleets destroyed, and their armies defeated. And in that moment, the humans, led by the silent soldier, surged forward, liberating planets, freeing the oppressed, and establishing a network of resistance that no alien could destroy, the fire in their hearts spreading like a storm across the galaxy, unstoppable, unbreakable. And the council finally realized the truth they had ignored for centuries. Humans were not weak, they were not fragile, and their hearts, once underestimated, were the greatest weapon in the universe. And as the silent soldier raised his hand one final time, the humans echoed him silently, a chorus of courage, hope, and defiance. And the empire, vast and arrogant, fell into chaos, fleets retreating, colonies liberated, leaders fleeing, their pride shattered forever, while the humans celebrated quietly, their spirits soaring, yet knowing the cost of freedom, the sacrifices of those who had fought and fallen, and the responsibility of carrying their unity forward. And in the aftermath, the silent soldier finally spoke to his people. Words strong, clear, and unforgettable. We are human. We endure. We rise. And no one will ever forget the fire in our hearts. Across the galaxy, the story spread, a legend of courage and unity, a reminder to all species that strength alone could not conquer hearts, that loyalty, bravery, and love were forces beyond weapons, fleets, or technology. And the humans, once underestimated, now stood victorious, their empire of courage built not on machines or logic, but on hearts. And as the stars shone over liberated worlds, the silent soldier looked at his people, the fire in their eyes reflecting his own, knowing that together, they had rewritten the rules of the galaxy, proving that even in silence, even in suffering, the human heart could burn brighter than any star, and that fire would never be extinguished.